Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I'll wait for just a second to let people be notified. I'm going to share this over in the Mind Power Collective group, and then we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about something that I think is going to benefit a lot of us because it's something we all experience. So I definitely want to talk about this. Okay, so I want to sort of preface this by saying that I sent out an email today to my email list. And and I did this today. So if you received my email, you know I talked a little bit about um, getting out of this sort of reactionary process when dealing with life, getting out of reacting to the situation or the circumstances around us and allowing our mindset to be set based on those reactions and those situations, right? And in that, I talked about how important it is to be proactive, to really like own your mindset and be creative with it and, understand the power that you have. And in that conversation, after that conversation, a client reached out to me and was sharing, some things about how she's been feeling. And it really reminded me that I sort of did you a disservice. If you're on my email list, I did you a disservice because I didn't go through how to work through those moments, how to work through life's, potential low moments, and what to do in those circumstances. And so today I want to share with you 6 things that are going to be helpful for you in dealing with the low moments of life, because life happens. We are human. Things are going to happen. Things are going to be challenging. It just is life. It's part of our growth process. So it doesn't always have to be that way, but when those moments hit, it's really important to understand how to move through those moments and how to move through those moments effectively, efficiently, and also in a way that's going to serve you in the long run. So that's what I want to cover in this message. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about in terms of the email, I really encourage you to join my email list, because I can resend that to you. And you can check out, just hop over to my website and you can sign up there, or there should be a link on my page here where you can sign up for that and get the information that I shared today. So let's talk about this concept of dealing with I don't even like to use the word negative emotion, but negative emotion, right? It's the thing that a lot of people aren't talking about. A lot of people are not really, a lot of mindset coaches aren't addressing this stuff because it really we've built this sort of idea that we're supposed to be positive, we're supposed to feel good, and we're supposed to only focus on the good stuff. And I am guilty of talking about that more than some of these other things. But it's really important to address that these things are going to happen, that we are going to have moments where it doesn't feel great, where shit is happening left, right, and center. Life is happening around us, and we feel some feelings, right? Like, just look at the world right now. We're feeling some stuff, and it does not do us any good to, override it, ignore it, not look at the tough stuff, because there's stuff attached to it. There's stuff that needs to be released. So one of the things that I do frequently, and again, primarily with my email list and my current clients, the people that I work with one-on-one, is I'm very much an open book. I will share my challenges because I want you to understand that it happens and that no one's perfect. And this isn't about being happy all the time. It isn't about living a life that feels, living a life that is, only positivity and only think this way and really, focus on all the good stuff. Like, that would be nice if that was like a reality, but life happens. So we got to deal with the stuff, right? We have to deal with the difficult emotions. So I'm going to run through 6 tips that are really going to, I think, serve you in dealing with these low moments in life, right? Like dealing with these situations of moving through to the other side, okay? So the first thing, and I say this all the time, I say it to my clients, I say it to everyone, and it is simply to feel the feels. Feel it. Feelings are for feeling, right? And as sucky as it is, and as hard as it is, and as painful as it is sometimes, feeling the emotion is the reason it's there. It's there to give us information. It's there to, it kind of like people describe it as bubbling up to the surface. It's bubbling up because it needs to be released. It needs to go somewhere. Emotion is energy in motion. And so when we push it down, when we numb it, when we ignore it, when we try to run from it, when we try to ignore it, it only gets bigger, right? And it has to do something. So it gets bigger and it gets to a point where we can't ignore it, or it gets sort of transmuted into other challenges. It can become disease in our body. It can become, mental challenges. It can become all of these things that we don't really, that don't serve us, right? Emotion is to feel, right? It's energy and motion. And so feelings are for feelings. So when you hit one of those moments where the emotion is bubbling up to the surface, feel it. Feel it. Now, maybe you're at work and you can't feel it in that moment, but go home and feel it. Let the tears come, let the frustration out. Feel the feelings, because you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. If you're shoving it away, if you're numbing it, ignoring it, then you really are just delaying the inevitable, and it's going to be even harder in the future. So my first step across the board for every client I work with, and we're going through this, is feel it. Don't be afraid of it. Feel it. Okay. I'm a big feeler, so this isn't hard for me. I'm very much a feeler for all the things. So I feel a lot. And, I've learned over time that it's sort of one of those things that's better out than in. I don't really try to compartmentalize a lot of stuff. I just feel it and, embrace that, lean into it. So that's number one. Second thing is release any judgment that you have around what's happening. And this is a big one because I hear so many people say, I shouldn't be feeling this, right? Like, I am X number of years old, or I've been here before, or I've worked through this stuff before. I shouldn't be feeling what I'm feeling. I shouldn't be in this place again. I shouldn't. They feel shame. They feel fear. They feel doubt around what it is that's coming up. And when you judge it, you create this sort of anchor and feeling around, like this belief system really around what is coming up for you. You create this massive story, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. You create this story attached to the feeling. Whereas if you just do number one, if you just feel it and you don't attach any judgment to it, you don't attach any fear to it or story to it, then it's just feelings. The feelings come up and the feelings go away. And if you have children, or if you've ever been around children, very often you will find that they are really good at feeling their feelings, right? Until they're taught that it's not okay. They will feel it, let it rise, and then eventually it will stop, right? They feel the feelings, they cry, they get frustrated, and they feel it and it comes out. And then it's like a release. It's like laughter, right? It's a release. And then they're able to kind of deal with whatever it was that created it. So they don't have any judgment around why they're upset. They don't have any judgment around whether they should be throwing a fit about this, that, or the other. They just feel it, right? So my recommendation is to let your emotions, let the low thing and wherever you are be just that. This is where I am right now. I'm not attaching any thought or judgment to it. This is what it is in the moment. Feel it, don't judge it, okay? The third thing is really about not attaching that story to it. And I'll share with you why this is critical. It's critical to not attach the story just as much as it's critical not to judge it, because when you attach a story to it, then you create this history, right? And you probably already have some sort of story attached to certain emotions. And the story may be, well, I always go here. This never works out for me, right? If you're struggling with some financial situation and you have emotions attached to it, you may have a story that this is where you always get. You never get to get ahead. This is always as far as you get to go. It never gets to work out for you. It works out for other people, but it doesn't get to work out for you. And that story, again, creates this anchoring in of that emotion. It creates like a stamp, and it like puts this belief and this situation in cement so that when this situation happens again, it's going to reactivate that story. And you're going to create more from that place that says, I'm not enough. I don't get to have all the stuff. These people get to have it and I don't. But if you let go of the story and you don't make it mean anything and you don't have any judgment related to it, then again, those emotions can come up and then they will fall away. They only stick around when we attach all kinds of things to it, okay? Imagine, so I just got this image and I'll use this analogy. Imagine a train is on a track and the first cart is the emotion, is the feeling that you have related to some situation or circumstance. That in and of itself is going to be able to move through pretty quickly as long as you don't attach anything to it, right? So if you just have the emotion and you allow it its free reign to kind of flow through, it's going to be able to move through a lot faster than if you attach a cart to it that now has judgment attached. And then you attach another car to it that has some story, right? Those two things are going to weigh it down and it's going to cause this emotion to slow down. It's not going to be able to move through. And in some cases, depending on how long you've practiced this, if you continue to activate the judgment and the story, it's really going to weigh you down and you're going to stay stuck in the feeling for a lot longer than you really need to. Okay? So allow the emotion to stand alone and feel it. Let it flow. Let it go. Let it move through. Okay? The fourth thing I want to remind you is not to panic. And this is one of those moments that I think a lot of people who are just sort of introducing themselves to this whole concept of mindset and their power is they panic when they have these emotions. They go, oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to. They have all the judgment, they have all the stories, and they say, I'm not supposed to be feeling this because what am I creating? What am I creating from this? Like, I'm not supposed to feel anxious and frustrated and worried, but yet here I am. And then they create all of this, like, jumbled up thought process and emotions around this situation. They panic. And then their energy, like it's on speed. Their emotions and vibration and resistance, like it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So the key is not to panic, right? And most of us panic because we tell some story, right? You'll see all of these keys are linked. We panic because we attach a story to why we're feeling what we're feeling and what that feeling means for the rest of our lives. What that feeling means in terms of our ability to be in a loving relationship. What that feeling means attached to money and our future and this thing that we're working on, for a new career or that book that we're writing. Like we make it mean so much more than what it has to mean. So don't panic when you have these low moments. You are human. You are human. I am human. We have these moments. We have tear ducts for a reason. We have emotions for a reason. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, right? This is about healing and it's about working through those layers so that you can get to the next level. Make sense? The next thing is to come back to the present moment, to really bring your attention and bring your focus back to the here and now, because here is what we typically do. When we feel those feelings of despair, frustration, the emotions that come up attached to anything, very often we will be living in two completely different places. We will be living in the past, where we are regurgitating and revisiting and remembering the past situations where this thing happened and we feel awful, right? The last time we felt this and how it created this massive upheaval in our lives and how we made all these mistakes and all these failures. Like that emotion has the ability to pull us back into this past, but that's not where we are. And on the flip side of it, for a lot of us, like I said, it pulls us into the future. It creates this story of, oh my gosh, what happens if this doesn't go away? What am I going to do? What if I never get through this? What if I never get to the other side of this? What if, I live this way, I feel this way, I am this way forever? What if it never changes? And you notice that both of these moments, living in the past or focusing on the future, does nothing for you in the moment because the emotion is in the moment. So when you choose to bring yourself back to this present place in the moment, then you really transform the feeling. You allow it to be where you are and nothing more. And again, you allow it to move forward with more ease. Okay? So that's going to be really helpful for you as you move through these steps. And the last thing I'm going to share is being easy with yourself. Being easy in those moments and really honoring where you are. No judgment, no story, no past or future, commingling, no panic. Let the emotion be where you are. Let it bubble up, let it process, feel the feels, and then be really easy with yourself as that sort of starts to come down. So if you imagine there's like an arc, right? You feel the feels, it gets to like a top point, and I learned this early on when I was working through some of my own anxiety. I learned that if I sat with it and I didn't judge it, I didn't tell a story about it, and I didn't make it something that it didn't need to be, that I could more easily allow it to kind of hit the peak and then eventually it would fall away. And it's in that falling away, as it's hit its peak and it starts to kind of, decline, then you're able to kind of get back on track and be gentle with yourself and choose more empowering thoughts, right? Choose more empowering thoughts. So that is the moment when you really want to start thinking about, okay, what do I want this to mean? And how do I want to empower myself moving forward? It's not at the beginning when shit hits the fan and you feel awful. And it's definitely not at its peak when you're feeling the absolute worst and you feel like it's never going to end. You don't want to try to be positive in those moments because it's not going to work. You're already like, the train is already off the track. You're already feeling the feels and it's already hit its peak. And you're not going to be able to feel positively from that place. But if you allow it to fall away and you can be easy with yourself, you'll really find that you're able to come down slowly, reaffirm what you know to be true about yourself, really focus on what it is that is true for you, what you choose to know and believe, what you choose to know and believe about this situation, about this outcome, about this feeling, and beyond, right? That's really where your power lies. And I feel like a lot of people, because the emotion feels, it's just hard, right? Like the emotion feels hard and we don't like it. We don't want to feel the feels because it doesn't feel good. But that is the way through. You have to move through it. You have to allow it its space to really operate and really move through so that you can get to the other side. That is the work. And I wanted to address this, like I said, because I talk a lot about you being proactive with your mindset, doing the mindset work, thinking the thoughts, doing the things. But this is about the other side because life isn't all rainbows and sunshine as much as we would like it to be. There are those moments. And the best thing we can do is be kind to ourselves, be easy with ourselves, and feel and give space to those things that are coming up, right? So I want to run through those really quickly again. And hopefully, Facebook will show this to as many people as possible because I think that this would really serve you in these moments that we all feel from time to time. So number one, again, is feel the feels. Feelings are for feeling. So let's not judge them. Let's not try to avoid them. Let's just be with them. Give them their space. Release any judgment around what you're feeling, around what's unfolding, right? There's no judgment. There's no shame. There's no doubt. You don't need any of that. Just let it be what it is. Release any story that you have about it. And when you find yourself telling a story, bring yourself back and say, it just is what it is. I'm human. It's where I am for the moment. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't have to be, anything bigger than this is how I'm feeling in the here and now. Okay? Don't panic, right? Number 4 is do not panic. Don't tell some story about what it means in the future. Don't worry about anything. Just relax and let it be what it is. Okay? And then come back to the present moment. Like I said, most of us actually live simultaneously in the past and in the future when these things happen. We're thinking about all those past moments, we're thinking about what this means for our future, and we're getting lost in the present. So bring everything back to the present moment. And if you need to meditate, if you need to do some deep breathing, whatever is going to help you be in the moment, that's going to benefit you. Okay. And then last but not least, of course, be easy with yourself. Be gentle, be kind. And then when you're ready, after your emotions have hit that arc and they fall away, then you're going to be better prepared to layer in some of those things that you know to be true about yourself, the beliefs that you're working on planting and cultivating in yourself, the thoughts that really serve you in moving forward. And that's going to create this full circle moment that allows you to work through those challenging times and then really get to the other side of it so that you can move forward more easily. Okay. So these are the steps. These are some of the tips that I have for you. These are things that I share with my clients for sure. If you have particular challenges or situations that are coming up for you where you're not quite sure how to apply this, map or this plan, if you have questions about this or if you have questions about any of the steps, feel free to, post a comment below and let me know. And if you are not a member of my email list and you would like to be, I highly encourage you to jump on over to my website, get signed up, because I share a lot of really great information about our beliefs and working through them, and just lots of really good stuff, additional tips that I don't always share here on Facebook. So I hope this has been helpful. If this is helpful for you, please post a comment below, give me a like or a share so that more people can see it, because you know how Facebook is, it doesn't always cooperate. But I would appreciate you, sending it, sharing it, liking it, and helping along those lines. If you have questions about mindset, or you're interested and intrigued about how mindset can support you, what it means to really focus in on your mindset and move through some of these challenges that maybe you're having in your life, then reach on out, send me a message on Facebook, or hop on over to my website. Let's get you scheduled for a free consultation and see if we are a good fit to work together. I promise that the feels are going to happen, low moments are going to happen, but the more you work through them, they're not going to be as big, they're not going to be as massive, they're not going to be as hard to work through in the future. They're going to be fewer and further between. So take some peace in that truth. I hope this is helpful again, and if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week, and I will chat with you soon. Bye, guys.